Starting your career as a developer can be a very daunting task, and it's not just about coding. That's the easy part. The hard part is dealing with all the things that nobody tells you about. Stuff like how to deal with meetings, with new colleagues, with the culture of a new workplace, and many other things. That's where the dev community comes to the rescue. Isaac Lyman, one of the veteran members, has spearheaded a team effort that culminated in the publishing of an ebook called Your First Year in Code. Now, I've already mentioned the book before, in episode 11 of Frontend News. Today, though, I want to go deeper into the subject. Therefore, I reached out to the man himself, Isaac Lyman, to give us all some insight into the project. Hello, Isaac. How are you?
Good, really good. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for asking. So, today I want to talk to you about your new book, Your First Year in Code. But before we go deeper, why don't you tell me first a little bit about yourself?
So I am a software engineer, although I've probably been a writer for longer than I've been a programmer. Um, but I've been coding in one form or another since I was probably 13 years old. And I got a bachelor's degree in English because my plan was to go to law school. But I realized my senior year of college that computer science was a much better career for me. So um, I'm always trying to bring those two together, the writing and the software engineering. And this book it's one example of a way that I've found to write about code and hopefully to help a lot of people who are finding that maybe there isn't enough really high quality content for beginning devs. Um, and so that's the hope is to, that's why we made it pay what you can, is, to reach as many people as possible. And it's really the joining of those two fields, of writing and computer science for me.
That's great. Going along, what can you tell me about your involvement with the dev community? I know that you're one of their most veteran members.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I guess I'm one of the first 500 people on the site. And back in 2016, I had just written an article on Medium about the role of developers in the company I was working at the time, and it really took off. It was getting a lot of hits, and Ben Halpern reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to cross post it to his new community. And I said, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to. It's always cool to support a budding community, and it looked like all the values were aligned and a really cool place to be. So I went ahead and cross-posted that, and I've been an active member ever since. And it's a great community. I'm really impressed with the quality of people and interactions that happen on that site.
So, what started the idea of a book generated by a community?
I had a bunch of old blog posts that were all kind of in the same category of, written for beginning devs, all the stuff I wanted to get down, that I wished I had known when I started as a developer. And I started to think, a book would be a great way to present those. But I don't know, I got the idea that I wanted to involve a lot of different people in it. Because there are problems that new developers face that I can't effectively address myself. There are a lot of problems that women face and people of color face that first of all, I can't ever fully understand. And second of all, that I really can't effectively address myself. And so I put up a post on the dev community and invited people to help me to write content, to write about their unique challenges, to help me write the book that we wished we had when we started coding. And by the end of that week, we had almost 100 people that had signed up to help in a number of different ways. And so that was in March of this year. So I kind of put together a publishing schedule naively because I've never published a book before, but I decided we would write and edit and publish this thing in 5 months. And, unfortunately, that was a pretty tight schedule for a lot of people. We lost a lot of people along the way, but I think what we came out with was the highest quality, best selection of content from some really fantastic authors, 15 other authors. on the book, and yeah, it came together at a really incredible pace, and I think we got a really impressive book out of it.
That's very inspiring in my opinion. What can you tell me about the people that who work on the book with you, and how did you manage the whole process?
The first thing I realized is that I didn't want there to be 17 chapters on the same subject, and so I asked everyone who wanted to contribute content to submit me their idea, their proposal for a chapter, and uh, I would approve those ideas. And there were a lot of people that said, here's a few ideas I want to write about, and I would say, that one sounds really good. We don't have anyone writing about that. So we all got some different things we wanted to talk about. And then there were a few left that I felt like were really important to cover that nobody had signed up for. So I proactively reached out to a few people that I thought would be good and asked them to contribute on that topic. And once I felt like we had a pretty good range of topics, then we went through a whole writing and revising process. First drafts, revisions, second drafts, a whole lot of editing and suggestions from me, drawing on my background as with an English degree. And let's see, by the beginning of last month, I think we had final drafts all put together, and then it was just a matter of figuring out everything outside of the book. So we picked Leanpub as a publishing platform, and they've been really great. Just an awesome platform to use if you're publishing an ebook. And I talked to Ben and his team at the dev community, and they agreed to be producers on the book. And that's been really essential to the reach and the growth that we've had. And got all the legal stuff out of the way, and the profit sharing. All the proceeds are, some's going to Girls Who Code, some is going to be split between all of us co-authors, and some is going to the dev community. So we got all the details worked out, and I did a last round or two of editing, and July 22nd, I finally got to push the publish button, and that was really an exciting day, an amazing day.
Okay. Now, what's next in your plans for the book that you've published the first version, you have it live? What's next in the plans?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's so much we could do. Right now, I'm looking into a physical book. There are people who have trouble reading books on a screen, and so I'm looking into good platforms for publishing an actual paperback book, and hoping to have some news on that front here in the next few weeks. And then Ben and his team have been talking about an audiobook. And there are some challenges there. It's hard to read code aloud, but I'm sure there'll be some more discussions on that front, and we'll figure out what we can. And then people are already asking when the sequel is going to be published. And I don't know what the sequel would look like. If it would be your second year in code, or your first year in JavaScript, or your first year in C#. I don't know where to go from here, but it's been a good experience, and there's definitely some room to grow and to address other topics. And honestly, I would love to see someone else's name on, front and center on the next book. I think it's been a cool project. But it has been a community project, and I would love to see that torch get passed on to someone else who really has that passion for writing. So,
one of the great advantages an electronic product has is you can update it very easy. Is there something that you wanted to add but you didn't have the time to do it? Do you plan to do any updates before going to a print version?
Yeah, I've definitely been thinking about that, and in fact, Leanpub makes revisions so easy. The first hour after we made the announcement, I realized that I had made a spelling mistake in one part of the book. And so I got on that and pushed an update. And so probably the first 50 people who downloaded the ebook have a spelling error in there they might not even know about. But there's definitely room for revisions and updates. Someone pointed out that the Appendix B will probably need to be updated as new technologies come out and new expressions of technology arise. That's the appendix about what you should learn if you want to build certain things. Um, I've also thought um, it might be appropriate at some point if if a lot of people write in and say, hey, there really ought to be a chapter on this or that. There could be room for bonus content later along the way. And you're right that an ebook gives us the option to do all of that. So I think for now, we're just kind of writing out the first wave of interest and seeing what the feedback is. And later on, there may very well be some additions or revisions.
Speaking of print, what have you considered so far? Is that too far into the future for the moment?
Not necessarily. We've talked about Amazon. We've talked about Ingram Spark. Um, it's really trying to find a balance of a company that we think is ethical and aligns with the values of the book, and has a decent royalty structure. So so we're not getting skinned in the market, and so there's a lot to think about there. But I think we'll start probably with a lesser known publishing house and see if we can get some traction there, and see where it goes from there. Amazon is a possibility. It has a lot of reach. A lot of people visit Amazon, but there's some pros and cons to weigh there. So I'll definitely let everybody know when we've got some news there.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of interest recently in ethics and the developer community. I enjoy reading the chapter dedicated to this topic quite a bit. Is there anything else you want to add to all this?
I don't think so. I just want to reiterate that it's our goal is to get it into as many hands as possible. So go to leanpub.com/first year in code. You can get a copy for whatever price you can pay, from $0 to $500, and share it with the junior developer in your life. And if you have any questions, my co-authors and I are always ready to help. So you can reach out to us on Twitter, or wherever you find us, and I think you'll find that we're very eager to answer questions and to help out anyone who's new to the industry.
And there you have it, folks, straight from the main author itself. So don't wait anymore and go get your copy from leanpub.com/first year in code. It's definitely worth reading, even if you've been a developer for more than just 1 year. Like this video if you liked it, and share it with your friends if you loved it. To see more content like this, please subscribe to the channel using the big red button down below, and click the little bell icon so that you don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.